mainstream going extinct dinosaur media has been humiliated once again, now forced to cover the coverage of the new media, the young influencers, the independent journo, Nick Shirley, as feds go to clear out those leering centers in Minnesota. It's just the start. It's just the beginning, ringing in a new era of new media conquering the drive-bys. It's a great time. It's a good time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back yet again to the Pro Channel, where we continue to unravel the unraveling of Hollyweird in an unrivaled way, by the way. Click the like button. We'll get underway. It's a big story. It's breaking. It's happening. And it's right now. Welcome to the new media. Nick Shirley, who made his bones, made his bread on X and YouTube, has now instilled dread all over Minneapolis as leering center after leering center goes down. This is coming to us from Breaking 911, hosting this Fox News clip. We'll play it for you. It says federal agents are swarming the Quality Leering Center in Minneapolis as they carry out raids at more than 20 locations across the area. Which really does say, I believe, mess around and leer out, right? No, that doesn't even make sense. Folks, we'll figure it out later. Here's the clip.
Now, large-scale raids targeting federal fraud currently underway. Federal agents seen leaving the Quality Learning Center, and Brooke Taylor has more on.
Bill Hemmer, you say it right. It's a leering center. Don't you approximate. Don't you project your culture on this. It's a leering center.
It is.
Oh.
That and what they're looking for. Brooke, good morning.
Hi, Bill. Good morning. Yeah, we have had a photographer there at the daycare since this morning, capturing video of those federal agents just going in and out of the building, collecting evidence as part of the DOJ's fraud investigation.
There's probably a daycare somewhere behind that door. Probably. Maybe. I don't know.
In Minnesota. Take a look at this video here. Sources tell Fox that federal agents are raiding about 22 businesses across Minneapolis this morning, and sources say many of them are tied to Somali-owned operations. All of this comes after that viral YouTube video from Nick Shirley. It was back in December. In that video, he visited different child care centers, and you'll remember they were either closed or there were just no children inside, despite.
Personally, I'm shocked. This looks like a leering center to me. This looks like a daycare. You guys see it, right? What child wouldn't want to enter through that back door and go to be taken care of while their parents are away?
Yeah, who doesn't drop their child off at a nondescript back door in the middle of a gray wall?
Listen.
Dude, kids love it.
Yeah, why not?
At all.
The playground facilities are fantastic.
As the young people say these days, I believe that is super sketch. All right, something that's not super sketch is what's happening with independent media, new media. Folks, the YouTubers, the Xers are winning and winning bigly. CBS News has this report coming out also as this is happening. Timeline of alleged Minnesota daycare fraud from Nick Shirley's viral video to new federal raids. It says federal agents carried out raids at about 20 child care centers, sure they are, in Minneapolis early Tuesday morning as part of an ongoing investigation into suspected fraud. According to multiple officials and a statement from the Justice Department, no arrests were made during the raids, which officials described as a renewed effort to address alleged pandemic-era fraud schemes in Minnesota, which would be to say that this has been going on for 6 years. The Justice Department said the FBI, along with federal, state, and local law enforcement, executed court-authorized search warrants as part of the investigation. CBS now goes on to give us the timeline, and this matters so much. It says YouTuber Nick Shirley posts a video visiting federally supported child care centers around Minneapolis, claiming nearly a dozen centers were not providing services and suggesting owners were taking taxpayer funds. The video draws tens of millions of views and is amplified by public figures including Elon Musk, Vice President J.D. Vance, and then Attorney General Pam Bondi. All right, here's what we need to talk about, I think, guys. We have now entered the stage where YouTubers such as us, where new media, and we'll have more stories on this, where the feds are even using investigations that Marvin has done in the past. We are now entering the stage where the legacy media is largely irrelevant and they're reporting on us. CBS, ABC, NBC, they're reporting on Nick Shirley. They're not the ones doing the investigations because they retired from doing the investigations. Marv, I'll go to you first on this. I think we've entered into a new era with this movement. Nick Shirley, this is why they drove him out. This is why they chased him out. This is why they hate him so badly. He's driving now the preemption for the investigations by the feds.
Well, this is why governments in California now are putting laws in place specifically to stop Nick Shirley, because he blew this out of the water, and this is probably billions upon billions of dollars worth of fraud. I don't know what they think they're going to find,
Not kids.
Well, I don't know what they think they're going to find now. They should have raided this place months ago when all of this first dropped. If there's anything still there, then these people are the most inept human beings that have ever existed ever in the history of the world.
That's a really good point.
World War XI. I just have to say that.
Yeah, I mean, right. World War XI in Leering Center. So maybe there is still evidence hanging around everywhere. But you got to think with this. When was this? 2 months ago that this happened? Like
December.
Back in December. It was
right.
5 months ago. So
the wheels move slowly at the DOJ, apparently.
But you got to think like they've shredded anything incriminating at this point.
Marv, could you explain for the audience? Not everybody's going to understand the World War XI reference. Could you just explain that, please?
Ilan Omar was reading, a teleprompter, and it said World War II on it, and clearly it must have had it in Roman numerals, and she called it, she called it World War XI.
Oh, I never realized that's why she said it.
Yeah, that's or either that or she was reading it off her notes. But the video clip is spectacularly viral.
It is.
That's what makes
wonderful.
it worse.
That is an elected official of the United States of America. Sorry, Katie, go ahead.
Well, it's a Minnesota elected official. Let's just be fair.
Now, Kate, the interesting thing is that we are operating in two different worlds, two different dynamics, and it's bizarre to me that at the same time that the new media here on YouTube and X, at the same time that we're leading the way, people like Nick Shirley, and remember that it was somebody like Christopher Rufo who broke out what was going on at Disney.
Yeah.
The new media is conquering and really driving the news cycles and driving the investigations. The new media, independent journalists, and at the same time, Kate, we're watching as on YouTube at least, the new media has never been under such threat. Channels are going down and demonetized and all this sort of stuff. So, Kate, what do you think about this idea that at the same time the new media is poised to win, also, being cornered and put in danger?
I think it kind of goes hand in hand, really, because if you look at YouTube's strategy, it doesn't look like they're trying to promote like independent creators as much as they're trying to promote like legacy media, because they're trying to be more like old school TV when that's never what YouTube was. It's kind of like they forgot their identity. As in a certain sense. And like speaking of the legacy media, the fact that people on their cell phones are just going around and doing better jobs than these people should tell them something.
Amen.
People just want something authentic. They want the truth. Really, that's all they want is just the truth. And a regular guy is going to be like, okay, I'll just go get that and not have to worry about like a bunch of red tape or all this other stuff when they have to jump through hoops and stuff like that. So I hope it keeps going that way. But for the YouTube thing, I don't really understand how that keeps happening. Like, because I just saw like 2 more channels today. They're like, oh, I've been demonetized. Oh, I've had my whole channel taken away from like 15 years. It's like, dang, like, what do they have in place? Like, whatever kind of AI system they have, they need to update it or something because it's going rampant right now.
Well, it just feels like at a time when the new media should be celebrated. And from a particular position politically, maybe they are, but at a time when the new media is bringing more attention to YouTube than ever before, YouTube is not helping the new media. And the other thing about it, you just said, isn't it amazing that after the legacy media decided to abdicate their job to investigate and figure out what's really going on, what did it take to beat them? Culture. It took a kid, and I'm not trying to be denigrating to Nick Shirley, but he's a young guy, so I'm going to use that a little hyperbolically, I understand, but it takes a kid with a cell phone to walk up to a business and say, hey, you guys real? That's all it took. That's what the legacy media decided. That's too hard. We couldn't do that.
I remember when like local news would go dumpster diving at businesses to see whether or not they would shred their stuff. Yeah. But now all they've got is what did Trump say that we can get angry about? We're going to talk about that for a while. We're going to frame that in the worst way possible. We're going to do the mean girl thing on 60 Minutes and say, oh, you think he's talking about you? No, that's the girls in high school could do that one.
Well, that's fine.
Leave the real journalism to Nick Shirley, who I'm gonna say he looks like a bro, and that's fine. I got a lot of my friends are bros, but
Bruh, what are you talking about, bruh?
exactly.
We don't call them bros anymore.
We don't need somebody in a suit behind a desk to try to tell me what the news is supposed to be. I want to know what's going on. I don't care about the professional framings and all that stuff. I want to know what's going on in the world, and they're fighting to preserve the status quo. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it.
He's got the 80s Billy Joel glasses on. He's a bra. Culture. This is why CBS News now and all the others are having to report on him and what he's done instead of what they did or what they reported on. Like, this is them covering somebody else beating them to the story.
Well, this is actually disgustingly framed by CBS News. I expect
Tell us why.
better. Well, alleged Minnesota daycare fraud. I think it's been widely confirmed that there is a significant amount.
But they got to say that legally. You know, the attorneys for the Leering centers, given all the money they've been making, could come after them.
I doubt it very much. You don't want to. They won't. They don't want to experience discovery. That's again, when you go after somebody, then you are also subjected to scrutiny.
But Culture, what do you think about the idea that the legacy media is now covering the real news? So the old legacy news is covering the real news that is happening weeks after the news happens online.
You know, the funny thing is the anecdote that Jonas shared of people dumpster diving for information. We don't have investigative journalism in the mainstream anymore. None of that's done. Right? Unless the story is like set up, prepped, and all the details are handed to a reporter, there's a decent chance they're not even going to bother, because, it takes time. They have to step away from their phone and their latte, in their office. They just want to report what everybody else is reporting on the news wires or on the press releases or whatever else. So it takes people like Nick Shirley and many other creators that are found on these platforms, including Marv over there from the M4 Empire. And look, I just want to say they're doing a great job.
It takes a little time sometimes, Culture.
It does. Well, it does. But look, I mean, we were promised big things from CBS. I don't really feel like we're getting them yet. And that's despite Barry Weiss's probably best efforts. But we are seeing other, independently started news organizations start to cover some of these things that the mainstream largely ignores.
The problem is if you're trying to purge a body, you can't leave cancerous tissue behind.
That's true.
That's the thing. In order to actually fix CBS, just like if the Ellisons are going to try to fix CNN, you have to gut everyone and rebuild from the ground up.
Out of the organization.
Same thing over at Disney.
Before we get misunderstood by this.
Oh yes, you have to. I'm saying you have to fire everyone.
Yeah.
So, Kate, let me go to you and give you the final word on this. It's amazing to me that I think there's going to be a serious effort to clamp down and stop future Nick Shirleys. Because let's say I'm a gumshoe reporter and I actually want to be a reporter. I actually want to be an investigator. Darn it. I want to get out there and find out what's really going down. I know the formula now. Nick Shirley, in 4 or 5 months, got the entire federal government turned on to Minneapolis. There's going to be an effort, I believe, to stop people, to make that be, we've got laws in California coming out, to find this guy. I think there's going to be a huge effort from the other side to make sure nobody wants to be a Nick Shirley. I don't know what that looks like, but I expect there to be a huge pushback very soon.
Yeah, they're going to try to clamp that down. They'll probably try to link it to maybe like vigilanteism or something like that. They'll probably say like
he's Batman
is against the law for some reason, exposing corruption and stuff like that. They're going to try to delegitimize it, like they do everything else. That's basically the only way they can go because, they don't have they have too much hubris to see what they're doing is wrong. So they're not going to switch their strategy to try to do it the right way or the way that people are doing it now. They're just going to say the way that you're doing it is wrong and how you're doing it is incorrect and it's illegal and it's putting people in danger or you don't even have the right credentials. You didn't go to college. Like they're going to try to do everything they can to make it seem like what you're doing isn't the right way to do it so that they can make themselves look better. There's no way they're going to switch the way that they're doing it. So yeah, you're right. It's going to be more people out there that are going to be trying to expose stuff. And they're just going to say, well, did you do it the right way? Did you go through the proper channels or where's your credentials and all this other stuff? Like they're going to try to do a high and mighty thing like they were doing with Nick Shirley when he first put this stuff out. They're like, oh, he's just a kid. And, what does he know about all this other stuff? And they were just trying to make it seem like what he was doing was false. And that's all they're going to keep doing.
Right.
Get ready for the revenge.
They go for the credentials argument and they go for the source argument. It's the argument is not whether it's true. I mean, they're kind of trying to go for that. But you remember when it was exposed that all those emails that went to WikiLeaks and it showed that Donna Brazile chose Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders? Imagine that happening somehow. And Donna Brazile, the only comment that she had to give to CNN was, "Oh, I think it must have been the Russians that got those emails. We need to do an investigation into that."
When in doubt, blame the Russians. You know.
Yep.
Not that we cheated in the debate to give Hillary the advantage. Marv, you've been trying to add something in there. Hop in, please.
I was just saying, like, the more I think about this and the level of incompetence that we're dealing with, this is the most cartoonishly buffoonish crime I've ever seen in my life. Like to the point where they're like villains in the Batman 1966 TV show. I mean, like, our Bulkin Skull running this organization. Like, Ilhan Omar tried to say that her $30 million net worth was an accounting error and it's actually only $100,000. The only accounting error that will turn $30 million into $100,000 is if you were doing accounting for the wrong person. It is so cartoonishly, buffoonishly incompetent. So if they can't nail anyone on this, then that just shows that our DOJ, formerly under Legally Blonde, who took no action in this situation, is just as buffoonishly incompetent.
Marv, wait, there's a very simple answer to what you're saying. Ilhan Omar, totally innocent, I'm sure, was doing her accounting in Roman numerals. She had no chance. Helping Hollywood produce a product that you want to consume. That's what we do each and every day, folks. And this time, it's time to, well, say goodbye. We know, but don't cry. No, for we will have more videos on the way. We love to bring those videos and that information. And by the way, if you'd like even more, consider going to the Patreon page. It's www.patreon.com/WDW Pro. It's where we put out stuff exclusively there that we simply can't put out and other places for whatever reason, be it because it's too spicy or because, well, perhaps we're working to corroborate it. But you can find out things early and first over there. Folks, we surely have had a great time spending time with you. Consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it, and stick it to those pesky algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment right on down below. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.